player with zero experience shouldn't be able to do this. 17-year-old Lennart Karl just scored in his first 2 Champions League starts.
Superb effort, brilliant goal.
Something that has never been done for Bayern Munich. But the goals are not the real story. The shocking truth is that his presence on the pitch is fundamentally breaking Europe's most common defensive systems. Coaches are scrambling to find an answer for a player who isn't even old enough to vote. We're breaking down how his unique football intelligence makes him completely unpredictable. A spot in the Bayern Munich first team is almost never handed out. It has to be earned through years of work. So the question on everyone's mind was why a 17-year-old with no senior team experience was suddenly traveling for a Champions League match. The context behind his selection starts with a crisis. Bayern's schedule was demanding, and their most creative attacker, Jamal Musiala, had just suffered a leg fracture during the Club World Cup that would sideline him for months. This left a massive hole in the attack and put significant pressure on manager Vincent Kompany to find a solution. He had other experienced forwards and attacking midfielders on the bench, players who understood the system and the speed of top-flight European football. Yet, for the crucial home fixture against Club Brugge, Kompany made a decision that was seen by many as an enormous gamble. He didn't turn to a seasoned professional, he started Lennart Karl. This move immediately raised questions. What exactly had the coaching staff seen in Karl during training sessions that gave them the confidence to throw him into such a high-stakes environment? Looking at his under-19 performances, you can see a prolific goalscorer. He was clearly a standout talent at youth level, but the gap between the under-19 Bundesliga and the Champions League is immense. Defenders are stronger, faster, and far more organized. The speed of play is on another level entirely. Few believed he was ready to make that leap overnight, especially with the pressure of a must-win European game resting on the team's shoulders. The moment he stepped onto the pitch, Karl was carrying the weight of expectation that comes with the Bayern shirt, replacing a senior player in a lineup with a global audience watching. His first few involvements were telling. There was no sign of panic or frantic energy. Instead, he showed an unusual calmness, making simple, intelligent passes and moving into space with purpose.
Jürgen, talk to me about Lennart Karl.
A super special talent, absolutely outstanding at that age. It's impressive. He seems like just to play like he would play in a youth team. You know, he doesn't get bothered by 70,000 out there.
He looked composed, as if he belonged there. Then, just 5 minutes into his debut, the gamble paid off. Karl received the ball, drove at the Club Brugge defense, dribbled past a defender, and fired a powerful shot into the net. This wasn't a simple tap-in or a lucky deflection. It was a moment of individual skill and confidence that validated Kompany's risky decision entirely. The goal did more than just give Bayern the lead. It etched his name into the club's history books. He became Bayern Munich's youngest ever Champions League goalscorer, breaking a record that was previously held by the very player he was helping to replace, Jamal Musiala. The symbolism was impossible to miss, with Karl even wearing the same number 42 shirt that Musiala wore when he set the previous record. At 17 years and 242 days old, Karl had instantly justified the faith his manager had shown in him.
It's a young player, German player, with a fantastic performance and a fantastic goal today, so it's totally normal that people talk about him now.
Kompany's decision was revealed to be a calculated risk, based on a specific quality he identified that could unlock the opposition's defense. Elite defensive formations like the 4-4-2 are built on a simple principle: stay compact and control the space. With 2 rigid banks of 4 players, the goal is to prevent attackers from finding room in the middle of the pitch, forcing them into wide areas where they pose less of a threat. The system is designed for predictability. So, how is a 17-year-old making these organized units look completely lost? The answer is that Lennart Karl doesn't play like a conventional winger who stays out wide, nor does he operate solely as a number 10. His effectiveness comes from constant, intelligent movement that creates problems these systems aren't built to handle.
tackling is very, very gifted, very creative, has the smell for where the ball will end up in the box, which reminds me a little bit of Thomas Müller. He always knew where the ball will drop. So this is a very, very special kid.
He has a natural tendency to drift from his starting position on the right wing and float into the half spaces, those valuable pockets of grass between an opponent's midfield and defensive lines. This simple drift creates an immediate dilemma for the defense. If the opposing left-back decides to follow Karl inside, he leaves a huge channel of open space on the wing for another Bayern attacker to run into. But if he stays wide and passes Karl off to a central defender, that centre-back has to step out of his defensive line, leaving a critical gap right in front of goal for a player like Harry Kane to exploit. There is no easy answer. We saw a perfect example of this in the match against Freiburg. For Bayern's first goal, Michael Olise was dribbling toward the center of the defense. Instead of just waiting for a pass, Karl made a clever run beyond Olise. This movement immediately caught the attention of multiple defenders who were drawn towards him. With the defense now shifting and disorganized, Karl was able to make a late ghosting run into the penalty area, completely unmarked, receive the ball, and score. His movement created the chance out of nothing. This off-ball work is what makes him so difficult for opposition coaches to plan for. You can't simply assign a defender to man-mark him, because his primary purpose often isn't even to receive the ball himself. His job is to act as a decoy, to pull players out of position, and create openings for his teammates. He's also a key component of Bayern's high press, using his energy and game-reading ability to force defenders into mistakes and win the ball back in dangerous areas. His movement isn't random wandering, it's a calculated effort to create numerical advantages and break down the opposition's defensive shape from the inside out. Karl's main tactical function is to be an invisible weapon, identifying and attacking the structural weaknesses in a standard defense that more experienced players often fail to see. By pulling defenders around the pitch, he becomes the catalyst that unlocks Bayern's entire vertical attacking system. Scoring on your debut is impressive, but doing it again in a high-pressure Champions League knockout game against a team like Arsenal is an entirely different challenge. This was the moment where the immense mental pressure of the big stage truly tested the 17-year-old. Many young players have a great debut, but falter when the lights get brighter and expectations rise. There was a natural curiosity about whether Karl was a one-hit wonder, or if his talent was substantial enough to perform consistently at this elite level. The match against Arsenal wasn't just about technical skill, it was a test of his composure and mental fortitude in a game where a single mistake could be decisive. He demonstrated exceptional composure throughout the match, a quality that is quite rare for players of his age. His performance was marked by his incredibly quick and smart decision-making. He consistently relied on a one-touch approach, whether he was passing to a teammate or getting a shot on goal. This method minimizes the time defenders have to react, effectively turning small pockets of space into dangerous attacking opportunities. His goal was a perfect illustration of this mental quickness, receiving the ball in a crowded area, under direct pressure from an Arsenal defender. He used a single, deft touch to set himself up. Without any hesitation, he calmly finished the chance, displaying a level of maturity well beyond his years. It was a clear demonstration of a player who could think and execute under the most intense conditions. This performance established a clear pattern of behavior. It proved that Karl wasn't just a physically gifted player, but also a mentally strong and decisive one who could be relied upon in critical moments. By finding the net against Arsenal, he achieved something no other player in the long and storied history of Bayern Munich had ever accomplished, scoring in his first 2 Champions League starts. And on December 9th, he scored a sensational goal against Sporting CP, declaring him the youngest player to score in 3 consecutive Champions League games. This singular achievement placed him ahead of countless club legends in the record books. His emergence is far more than just a feel-good story for the club, it represents a massive financial windfall, as Bayern have once again developed a potential superstar from their own academy, for free, bypassing the need for a 9-figure transfer fee. Experts are already pointing to his arrival as one of the most significant tactical shifts in the Bundesliga this season. His unique movement and intelligence are forcing every opponent to completely reconsider how they structure their defense against Bayern. His influence is making other teams adjust their entire game plan. Looking ahead, the prospect of fully integrating his intelligent runs with the world-class finishing of Harry Kane and the creativity of Michael Olise and a relentless Luis Diaz is a truly daunting thought for every major club in Europe. His rapid rise suggests the beginning of a new tactical era for Bayern Munich, one that will likely reinforce their status as a European powerhouse for years to come.
What he has, and I want to be totally clear on this, what he has goal threat. So every single time when Lenny's on the pitch, he can score a goal, even if he has a bad game. And now the next steps for him is to be consistent, have more good games and more often. And for this he needs time, and then everything will be okay.
Lennart Karl's story isn't just about the records he's breaking, it shows how football intelligence can be more devastating than raw experience in today's game. He represents a new type of young talent, one whose greatest weapon is his mind. His impact is already clear, as he's the youngest player in history to score in 3 consecutive Champions League appearances. This suggests he's ushering in a new era of tactical innovation for Bayern, following in the footsteps of academy graduates like Jamal Musiala and Thomas Müller. The question is no longer if he will be a star, but how he will redefine what's possible for a player at the highest level.